right? So basically, the object extends far out. That means that this object, my friends, is massive. It is much bigger than what's estimated because it extends out beyond the parameters of the nucleus and the coma. It extends way beyond it, to 5-10 times, So the thing is that if you look at this image here, right, you see in the star map. So when I get a star map now, because I'm primed for it, I know what I'm looking for, okay? I know what I'm looking for and I can see it, right? I look for those subtle outlines, that subtle pattern, and now I can see it. In the beginning, I couldn't, but after 4 months, I'm getting better at it, right? So look at this, you see? So I spotted it. And so then I went with the lasso and I just mapped out that area and change the exposure so I could make it a bit darker so that you can see what I'm speaking about.